Right, welcome back everybody. So we are here at the Results Operating Centre. Well, we are here, but there are no numbers at the moment. I'm sure it'll all be sorted out, but it looks like the whole system's gone down, to be honest with you. I mean, even online, we were trying to take a look and see how the counting's going, because we saw the board go white behind us, and then we thought there would be a big update. Perhaps that is what's happening, but we can tell you that at the moment, it's all gone down to zero. So we're not seeing the votes at the moment that have been captured and in there. Obviously, it's all still there, but it just looks like there may be a little bit of a glitch at the moment.
It doesn't matter. We've got you covered because where we want to go, we have what we need. So we are going to now look at those seat predictions. And just a reminder, if you've just joined us, welcome. And of course, Dr. Sithembile Mbete from the University of Pretoria with us, as well as Professor Pravesh Debba from the CSIR. And we're going to now, for the first time, look at a prediction for seat allocation. And as we always say, Prof, always bear in mind that there is a margin of error, 2 percentage points margin of error. And as you know, Dr. Mbete can attest to the fact that you will be eating humble pie if you try to come at Prof. So this is it. Let's take a look. So we're going to start with looking at what happened in 2019 with the seat allocation in the National Assembly. And we're going to start with the African National Congress. They, of course, got 57.5% of the vote, and that translated to 230 seats in the National Assembly. So from 230, we're saying the prediction is this time around, Prof?
160 we're looking at the moment.
160. So can I now ask a question? I mean, Dr. Mbete, if this in fact is the case, how are the ANC? I mean, let's talk to them. The psyche of the ANC. I mean, I've heard them in interviews defending it and saying this is democracy at play and blah, 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 blah. And we've been hearing all of this. But the reality is, what does this do to the party? I mean, talk to us about the repercussions of this.
Well, for one, you've got 70 unemployed people.
Exactly. You're not getting a job again.
Added to the statistics, where were we? 41% extended definition of unemployment. So, you know, you've got another 70 added to that at national level. And probably quite senior people, because the ANC, on the assumption of, on assuming, you know, always assuming that they would get over 50%, that first 200 names, you know, the 200 names that would be, you know, in the first, most likely to get in. So that first 200 names on their list are pretty important people from the NEC, pretty influential senior people in the party. And to see that there will be a good chunk of those, good 40 of those that aren't going to get anything, as far as the National Assembly is concerned, must be freaking the party out. I mean, if nothing else, just having 70 people losing their jobs in an instant.
And losing the majority, losing the all-say power.
Losing all that power.
It's a big loss for them.
It's a big loss for them. What it also means is that, remember, that in order for the ANC to have its president elected, as well as its choice of speaker elected, it needs in the first vote 50% plus one.
Yes.
And so that would be 41 seats that it needs to make up, or 41 votes that it needs to make up. And now, let's remember, we are talking a lot about coalitions, right? That first sitting of Parliament, which needs to happen within 2 weeks from Sunday, which is when we think that we'll have a results announcement, does not necessarily need to happen with agreed coalitions already. If the ANC agrees, gets to some parties to agree that they will vote in President Ramaphosa as the president at that first sitting of the National Assembly, and that they will vote in an agreed person to be the speaker. That's a vote that happens first, that they'll agree on who will be voted in as speaker, they'll agree on who will be voted in as the president. Then they can cross that hurdle without a coalition agreement, and then that president will then need to put together a cabinet, and then you can have the coalition haggling at that point. So best case scenario is that we can get through the hurdle of the vote on the president at that first sitting of the National Assembly, even if the nitty-gritties of coalitions or whatever aren't agreed yet, because you just need either a simple majority to just get either the 50% plus one, or if the vote has to happen again, it's whoever gets the most number of votes. Then you get over that, and then we can see what happens as a country. But the fact that we're having this conversation at this stage is pretty extraordinary.
So very different faces we're going to be looking at.
Since the dawn of democracy, it is not a given that the ANC president is going to be the president
for the first time
of
since
the country.
1994.
And
For the
certainly
first
not
time
the
since
deputy
1994.
president, because that is another thing with the wranglings and the negotiations that may happen. Deputy president may be very, very different.
Okay, very interesting, but we're going to run through the next few as we come up to news time. A Democratic Alliance, so 20.77% of the vote in 2019. They had 84 seats in the National Assembly, Prof.
Yeah, what we are looking at is in the region of about 87 or so.
87, so they'll get about 3 more.
Yeah.
Right, the Economic Freedom Fighters, 10.79%, 44 seats in the National Assembly.
For them, we are looking at around 38 or so.
So they're going to lose a few seats in Parliament. Inkatha Freedom Party, 3.38%. They had 14 seats in the last National Assembly.
We're looking at probably around 17 this time.
17. So they're going to be happy with that. Then the Freedom Front Plus, they had 10 seats in the 6th administration.
This time around, it's looking at around 6 or so.
6. So they went from 4 to 10. And now they're going back to 6. Okay. ACDP, they had 4 seats.
We're looking at around 3.
1 out. UDM?
3.
3 from 2. ATM, they had 2 seats.
Still 2 seats.
Good Party, they had 2 seats.
1.
NFP, they had 2 seats. Gone.
Gone.
NFP's gone. Then the AIC, they had 2 seats. Gone. Congress of the People, COPE had 2 seats. Gone.
Really gone.
Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, the PAC, they had 1 seat.
2 seats.
2 seats. PAC, I think, will be happy with that. And finally, Al Jamaa, they were the 14th party. They had 1 seat.
2.
2. There we go. We'll recap on that. Because
And
that's
the new
very
guys.
interesting. And the new parties.
The new guys,
as
the Rise
well.
Mzansis, the bosses,
Yes.
also looking at 2. And the big one, the MK party, 58 seats predicted.
We're coming back to all of this. Stay with us.